We're going to start very quickly with the next session, so there won't be a big break. The next session is by Devdutt Patnaik. So I'd like to warmly welcome Devdutt Patnaik here up on stage. Devdutt is, I heard Devdutt a couple years ago in the TED Mysore that took place. And, if you've not seen his TED Talk, you should. If I'm not wrong, probably that's the most viewed TED Talk out of India. And frankly, I was completely blown away. And I don't know how many times I have shown that talk to, somebody or the other in a conversation and said, hey, I see your point, but there's a better way to frame this. And I must have used it, I must say, probably a couple of dozen times for sure. So Devdutt, what makes Devdutt extraordinarily fascinating is that he's followed his passion. He is a medical doctor. Believe it or not, who was in the medical industry for 14 years before he found somebody, as he says, who was willing to pay for his passion. And today, he is the chief belief officer. You have to ask him what that means. Chief belief officer of Future Group. Now, there's something about medical doctors, I must tell you. He's not the first one that I know. We've had this company which is very successful called SourceBits. I don't know if you know about it. And Rohit Singhal is another person, a medical doctor, who chose to become, for heaven's sake, an IT entrepreneur. Now, Devdutt hasn't yet embraced the IT industry like Rohit has done. But we are going to get him there over time. Because I think in our industry, we are one of the most global industries out of India. There's no doubt about that. And while that is good, and you see some of that happening here in exchange of ideas, the fact of the matter is that if we have to be successful over time, we've got to connect with our own culture. Not just in terms of the company culture that we built inside the company, which was the subject of his TED Talk, but also how we engage with the world at large, our consumers here in India. And unless we are willing to do that, unless we have a deep understanding of that, we will not be able to borrow ideas from outside, certainly from Silicon Valley, and make them work here. So we are really pleased, Devdutt, that you are here. And I think, the body of knowledge that you're building and the talk that you have is going to be very important to the industry at large. And we hope that this is a start of a dialogue. This is not the first time that we'll see you here. We'll see you often in the years to come. So with that, let me welcome Devdutt on stage. Please, a big round of applause for him. So Devdutt, over to you.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon. I have two sessions today just to clarify. They sound very similar. One is on the Indian customer, and the other is on the customer. So this is for if you're interested in desis, and if you're interested in mankind and humanity, then in the evening. So we're talking about the Indian customer, and by customer, the customer can be the investment banker, because you want to sell your idea to him. The customer can be the talent that you want to hire. The customer can be the employee you want to retain. The customer can be the person you're finally selling your product to. So customer can be defined in many, many ways. It's basically someone who has something that you want, and you want him to willingly part with it. So either his talent or his money. And if you understand, that's a very good way to understand the customer, then you're very clear what you are going to do in your thing. And I have enough experience of this. Only experience I can say is I talk to so many audiences, and I know that my speech changes dramatically with the audiences. And unless the speech changes dramatically, because I have a problem when people come with prepared speeches, it means that they have not looked at the audience. There is no sensitivity to the people sitting in front of them. They are talking to a mythical, unknown audience who never gets the audience. Good. What people like is at a very fundamental level, I have to connect with you. And if I have to connect with you, I have to look at you. And if I look at you, I will observe that every human being is different. And the problem then comes is, how do I talk to so many different people? So we have wonderful English words like segmentation. And one way of segmenting is Indian customer. And we're going to talk on that today. And let's see where we can go. So it's a workshop, so I'll try to keep it interactive as far as possible. The problem is, of course, many of the concepts look quite alien, although they're apparently part of this culture for thousands of years. They might look a little alien, but let's just go along the journey and just indulge me on that, and we'll see where it goes. Okay? So first, the designation. Let me admit how this designation came about. When I met Kishore Biani, and he said that he wanted me to join his company. I was working with Ernst & Young. I used to work by the day and do mythology in the night. And that was a fair arrangement. I thought I'll become a partner in Ernst & Young, and fine. Money comes from one place, pleasure comes from another. So, but then Kishore Biani said, no, don't waste your time. Just do this 24/7. I'll fund you. And I'll pay you whatever. He said, I need a designation, because he wanted me to be an employee with an employee code. He said, bhag nahi jaoge. So I said, okay, fine. I'll do that, but give me a designation. And after a lot of deliberation, we came up with this fairly interesting title, because the only condition we had is that anyway, he said designations don't matter. So he said designations matter to people who don't understand the power behind designations. But those who understand what power is, they know that designations are useless. So I said, I know, but people need to know what are you doing in future groups. So the point of the designation was very simple. When I give you a visiting card, or I say that I am a chief belief officer, you get interested and ask me, what do I do? The moment you ask me what do, I have got my foot in the door. Then I will talk to you, impress you, and you'll call me for a conference. So it is a sales strategy, a very inexpensive sales strategy. 3 words, chief belief officer. And I have like people asking, what is this? How exotic? How is the only country in the world which has it? It's nothing. It's just a simple trick to get you thinking. But we go deeper. And so we came up with something called a 3B framework. So now that is the framework, it becomes valid. So we call it the 3B framework, and basically what it says is the business that you are in depends on how people behave, and how people behave depends on what they believe in. So the definition of belief, a simple definition, is subjective truth. Subjective truth. Think about it. For the last 500 years, we have been obsessed with scientific, objective truth. So our social structures, our method of education, everything revolves around objectivity and science. Technology is about numbers and mathematics. We constantly yearn for a truth which is outside human beings. So we're constantly seeking something which is objective, right. Subjective truth says there's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. It's my point of view. So does a point of view matter? If you think a point of view matters, then this presentation is valid. If you believe points of view don't matter, then this next 20-30 minutes is a waste of time. If you look at business as a set of tasks, I have to do this, you see it as a project, then points of view don't matter. You have to get the job done, the job is objective, measurable. But the moment you say business is about a set of relationships, relationship of the entrepreneur with the investor, entrepreneur with the employee, the company with the consumer, the customer, the moment it becomes about relationships, then people start to matter. And when people start to matter, then subjective reality matters. And when subjective reality matters, you better pay attention to belief. So that's where we are coming from. Business is what you do. So you have a company, you're doing something to make money. What you do. How you do it is behavior. So your processes, systems, rules, values, they all come in this. But why are you doing what you are doing? What is the real reason to make money, that's such a flip statement. It is saying the why is equal to the what. Why do you eat food? Because I'm hungry. Why? The reason why people do business is manifold. It could be I'm following the family tradition. It could be because I don't want to work under someone else. Could be because I have not got a job, so I have nothing else to do. It could be because I'm good at business. Or it could be because business is the best way of doing philanthropy because it generates jobs. Each of these are different reasons. Each of these have a very different way in which you will conduct your business. And that will have a huge impact on the business outcome. So you have to ask yourself what role belief plays not only in your life, but in the customer's life, and specifically today on the Indian customer. So it's about subjectivity, and we have to go into the mind of the Indian consumer. We have to try to understand this thing. Let's play a game. Look at this. So the tool or the method that we use is called Darshan. Darshan is simple. Go to the temple. Open your eyes. What do people do? They go to the temple, and the first thing that we do is we shut our eyes. When you're told Darshan karo, dekho, look. It is called customer sensitivity. Look. If it is Shiva, give a bel patta. If it is a Vishnu, give a tulsi ka patta. Don't give tulsi to Shiva, don't give bel to Vishnu. Why? You will not get what you want. Darshan karo. So are you doing darshan of your investment banker? Are you doing darshan of your employees? Are you doing darshan of your customers? If you are not, sorry, the balance sheet will be in the red. It won't work. That's what we are going to do. We are going to do darshan of the Indian customer. Let's see how to go about it. So look at this, 9/11. Is it September 11th or 9th November? Everybody talks about 9/11, right? Is it September 11th or 9th November? किसका दर्शन कर रहे हो? सामने वाले को देख के बात करो. Look, which is logical? Which is the logical answer now? Give me a logical answer for this. British logic or American logic? Indian logic is कुछ भी चलेगा, सामने वाले को देखो. Look at it, what looks allegedly mathematical and logical is not so. Subjectivity creeps in everywhere. Everywhere in the world we say 9/11. Have you heard of something called 26/11? What does that mean? Do you see this appearing in American newspapers, 26/11? It makes no sense. See the difference. See the power of numbers and mathematics and logic in a very simple thing called a date. So all of you have technology, we have a date time stamp. What do you follow? DD, MM, YYY or MM, DD, YYY? And that will tell me who is your customer. Simple. It sounds so logical. We assume we are logical creatures, but it is steeped in subjectivity, in cultural history. You cannot understand this unless you understand the American Revolution. The whole nation of declaration of independence. From whom? From the British. The desire to reject everything authoritarian from Europe. All this is locked in this very simple thing called 9/11. But हम दर्शन नहीं करते. जब दर्शन करते हैं तो सब खुल जाता है, दिखाई देता है. And it becomes magnificent. Because suddenly you can see something which no one else can see. So you see, to see business you need drishti, which means sight. But to see belief, which is subjective and apparently and allegedly invisible, you need divya drishti, insight. That's all you need to do. To move from sight to insight, to move from drishti to divya drishti, all you have to do is something which the ancestors have been telling us for thousands of years, darshan karo. Look. Look carefully. And patterns will emerge that you have never seen before. Our minds will create patterns that you've never seen before. The more darshan you do, the more patterns will come. The more patterns will come, the more patterns will come. And you'll be able to see complex patterns that nobody else can ever see. And what we are going to do today is just see patterns. Both dates of history and value given through numbers, both terrible tragedies. One has led to war. The other, the courts are still wondering whether the man who killed people in front of the camera is guilty. This is your customer. This is your customer. Darshan karo. When someone gets arrested for insider trading in America, he has been convicted. It's over. When someone is convicted of bribery in England on cricket, he has been convicted. We have riots where people have been burnt alive on camera across the country and nobody has been convicted. Or people of no significance have been convicted. This is the Indian customer. What does it reveal about the mind? What does it reveal about the mind? Intelligent people. What is it trying to do? Why are we not taking a decision? Is this something to do with the Indian head shake? Maybe he's guilty. सब चोर है, सब अच्छे हैं, सब बुरे हैं. Everybody has a good side, everybody has a bad side. Oh, forgive him, adjust. No. See the power of that one word, adjust. You take away adjust and Indians will become an intolerant people. If you want to be tolerant, you have to accept the adjust. The two are two sides of the same coin. We are an adjusting people, we are a tolerant people, therefore the traffic jam in Tumkur Road will exist. And we will adjust, we'll go around the potholes efficiently. And this has to be seen with empathy. Not with disdain, but this is who we are. The moment we see it with disdain, it means you believe there's an objective reality that we have to achieve. No, this is who we are. This is what makes it, because we can go around the potholes, we are very good in software. We can create patches where none existed. And we are terrible at documentation. We are brilliant as individuals and terrible as team players. All this is what our customer is. Look at it with eyes of empathy. Because that's who we are. It's an attribute. It's not positive, it's not negative. It's an attribute. The problem is we try to judge it. Ye acha hai, ye bura hai. We adjust too much. We are judging it. We are not seeing it as an attribute. Let's go deeper. My favorite slide. So I'm in a 5-star hotel right now, owned by an Indian company, Taj Vivanta. All I do is go to the bathroom and check the bathroom and say, is there a water faucet? There never is. I have to use paper. I find it dirty. It may be rational, you can explain it to me, you can do anything. I psychologically, subjectively can't do it with paper. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I need my water faucet or at least a lota. So sure enough, I have been provided with a plastic tumbler in this fancy hotel room. Where is the water tap? Outside. Okay. Let's talk about consumer insight. Who visits your hotels? At least 50% Indians. At least 50% Indians? I think it's much, much more. But let's call it 50%. Do their ablution habits matter? Or they don't? Go to any 5-star hotel. Try to do this in the Middle East. Your hands will be chopped off. Because you have to wash yourself after ablutions in the Middle East. There are strict rules of ablutions. But we adjust. We are given form. घर की बात अंदर ही रहने दो. But every hotel, I travel a lot. And I see this in every hotel and I smile. The international chains say, we care for our customers. We love our customers. I said, bullshit. This is a classic way. Any hotel says we care for the customer, just go to the loo. And it reveals हम दर्शन नहीं करते, हम केवल mimicry करते हैं. This is mimicry. We are mimicking because it is the right thing to say. The right thing to say is to say that we are good, we believe in customer insight. Can you imagine if you have a company and you don't use the word customer insight and customer sensitivity? You know, you've played the bingo, MBA bingo. We are on the same page, win-win situation, think out of the box, innovation. I just love that word. Collaboration, synergy. I said, yeah, right. This is mimicry, pretension. Because if I don't mimic, I won't get the business. And it's unfortunately not good for business in the long term. You see, this is called jargon therapy. If I force you to use the word suddenly, if I repeatedly say customer insight, I'll become sensitive to the customer. But how do I become sensitive? What should I be sensitive to? What should I look at? These things will be discussed at 5:30. How to be sensitive to the customer. Right now, we shall only focus on the Indian customer. As you can see, I'm selling my evening session. You see, we have to ask ourselves, this is a very nice concept in the Mahabharata of the blind father and the blindfolded mother. Both are Gandhari, the blindfolded mother, good mother, very good mother, but she refuses to see her child. Why? Because of her nobility. What does it do to the child? Turns into a villain. Constantly attention-seeking, needy child who wants to see everything. So when Draupadi comes, first thing he wants to remove her clothes. The consequences of a self-righteous pomposity. My product is brilliant, and that blinds us. We don't see the customer may not think so. It hurts us so much that we go into denial. We don't want to hear negative feedback. And so we start hearing only positive things, and that is somebody saying it to comfort us. One of the biggest lessons you should learn in India is, in India, leaders are not respected. They are indulged. We look at leaders as little children who get upset if you criticize them. So you only tell them good things. Yes, sir, you're very good. Your product is wonderful. We don't want to hurt his feelings, you see. But the problem is that prevents us from seeing what is wrong with the product. Why is it not working? Why is the market not responding to it? And therefore, to do darshan, we must allow people to say whatever they want. And we have to remove the blindfold from our eyes. Very critical. And the most important thing is to look at the bazaar. If I use word like market economy, it sounds so grand. The moment I say ये बाजार की चीज है, how does it sound? ये बाजारू है, cheap, and yet market is bazaar. अगर बिकाऊ नहीं है तो बाजार में लेके मत आओ. If it can't sell, don't bring it to the market. Market is where things sell, exchange takes place. Typically, when you look at an Indian bazaar, people say it's chaotic. But think about it. Vendors are going in, customers are going in, vendors sell their wares, customer buys his ware, everybody thinks they've got a good deal, and at the end of the bazaar there is nothing left but a ground. Where is the chaos? Why is the word chaos used? Indian marketplace is very chaotic. When everybody inside has got what they want. Why do we, the word is repeatedly used, the chaotic Indian marketplace. Chaotic from whose point of view? किसका दर्शन कर रहे हैं? Do we realize that there is a pattern at work over here and it is extremely organized? It's just that the organization is different from your organization. It's about 9-11 or 11-9. That's the difference. We judge it rapidly, very superficially, without looking at it and trying to figure out what is the patterns. If you study Indian bazaars, you will find inventory levels which are phenomenal. SKUs which are unbelievable. Orders which you can't believe. For example, there is a market in Hardwar which sells clothes for the deities. And there are about 25 sizes of the deities. And they are in, each of the sizes are in some 1,000 colors, in different fabrics and different textures at different price range. Goes to the bazaar outside temple towns. You will see all kinds of inventory. They are not organized apparently. Then how is people making money? How are deals being struck? It's just that the pattern is different. You see, we have to learn from the tawaifs of the previous age. It's called the art of seduction. You see, the tawaifs would say, अगर बाजार में केवल एक तवाइफ है, तो वो गाने से काम चला लेती है. She sings and the customers come. But when the second tawaif enters the market, she has to learn dancing. That is called in English value addition. तो बाजार में बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है. Are you adding value? Are you only singing or are you also dancing? Look at this American street. Let's do some patterns. Clean, nice, well organized, signboards. Everybody knows where they're going. Okay. This is an Indian street. Oops. There is a lag, I think. You'll adjust. This is an Indian street. Which is the better street? Which is a better street? If you were to design, किसका दर्शन कर रहे हो? Can you tell me the difference between this street and this street? One very interesting difference. No autos. There are two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers and no wheelers. Everybody is optimizing. It's highly inefficient but extremely effective. Everybody gets from point A to point B, eventually. There is also a bazaar in the middle. In some parts of the world, it's called a supermarket. What happens when we look at it? Let's look at it in the form of a story. So this is a story from Greek mythology. Once upon a time, there was this strange creature which was part lion, part goat, part serpent. It was called a chimera. And the hero, Bellerophon, was called to destroy it. The word chimera means a chaotic fantasy, something which is chaotic, which doesn't make sense. Lion should be lion, goat should be goat, serpent should be serpent, neatly compartmentalized in an Excel sheet. Each one with their very own database. This is an Indian story. It's called a Nobogunjara. It has 9 animals. A rooster, a peacock, an elephant, a human, a serpent, a tiger, a lion, a bull. And what does the hero do when he looks at it? He first raises his bow and then he bows. And says, isko to ye Bhagwan hi hai. Total different approach to look at something which looks allegedly needs to be organized, the other needs to be celebrated. Observed and celebrated. To change it, the bazaar has to go away, the streets have to go away, everything. Main course, dessert. Specific utensils for eating specific things. You have to go through something called a rehearsal dinner before the actual wedding dinner. Everything is about practice, planning, training, KPI, KRA, measurability. You eat what the chef has cooked for you. You eat exactly what the chef has cooked. You can at the most add a little salt and a little pepper. Then you come to the Indian thali. Sweet, sour, spicy, rice, crispy, gooey, everything served simultaneously. What do? You mix. The way I will mix and the way you will mix is very different. I may eat rice first, you may eat chapati first. You may dip your chapati in rasgulla first. I will take my rice and put sabzi on it. The proportions will vary, the factors will change. So what I ultimately put in my mouth is very unique to me. Although all of us are served the same thali, what I eat and what I taste is very different. It is the ultimate in customization. Darshan karo. Standardization with central control, customization with peripheral control. Darshan karo. Which is a better way to eat? But just go with the flow, just hear what I'm saying and see what happens, and you'll start seeing the Indian customer. See the patterns and the geometry which starts to emerge. It's a geometry will form in your head. A very clear geometry will form in your head, and that will help you understand your customers better. Western classical music and the notion of harmony. Many musical instruments will be played in a particular way in perfect harmony. So Beethoven, Bach, Chopin, brilliant music. Tchaikovsky, magic. Struggling against the system. It's all about a singular journey, the adventure. Tintin, Asterix, James Bond, the single adventurer. Don Quixote, the hero on his journey. What is the first Indian epic? Family drama. Papa, mummy, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, wicked, evil servant, and forest exile. To ghar se bahar ja. Get out. And then you come back, and then you make up, and then you fight, and then you make up. Collective. Obsessed with the collective. Now, what is the impact of this? What is the impact of this? So, at the age of 16, a young man is given a car and said, move on with your life. So, individualism is celebrated. Greek thought is about individualism. If individualism is being celebrated, there has to be a counter to it. So, what you yearn constantly is community. Facebook. You have many, many friends on Facebook and you're happy. Because then relationships are so easy, you just have to unsubscribe. But community, my yearning for the community, and therefore, if I give something which creates the collective, it works. Now look at the Indian family. When you sit together, and this can be applied, you sit together, you eat together, you pray together, you do everything together, you want freedom. So when you try to sell me things, I want to feel like God. I want to feel special. I am an individual. Don't treat me as part of a collective. So what's your name? Devdutt Patnaik. Ah, from Orissa, is it? Yes, but from Bombay. I will keep clarifying to say that I am not part of a collective. Don't make me part of the collective. Don't standardize me. Make me feel special. Meri aarti karo. That is why for thousands of years we have been given a training program, aarti. You tell God what he has done, what achievements he has done, who he has saved, because he doesn't know all that. You do it every day. Why? Because only then he'll give you what you want. Why don't we do it with customers? कस्टमर भी तो भगवान है, श्री कृष्ण की मूर्ति है, मक्खन खिलाओ, लक्ष्मी उसके पास है, वो तेरे पास आएगी. इसे कहते कन्यादान. So that's what we're talking about, a fundamental difference. The context shapes the way we think, and therefore when we approach people, we approach very, very differently, because everybody lives in a different subjective reality. Look at this. Terminator. Look at the films in Hollywood. The fear of technology. This technology which is so fantastic is going to frighten and destroy you. It's going to come as a monster, Matrix. They'll turn you into batteries. So then Indians also, we will also do films on technology. Robo. Romantic hero who dances and sings. Ultimately family man. And most importantly, God, Rajnikant. It is important to see this because the story reveals our subjective reality. This is what people want. This makes no sense to Indians. Kya hai ye? Mobile phone will attack you, is it? Mobile phone is your lover. In olden days, when you want to kill a demon, you take the parrot in which his life is hidden. Nowadays, you throw away his BlackBerry. You see the panic on people's faces. Oh, Prannath. It reveals the different relationship with technology. So when you look at what is called a Western society, it's not a fair word. Remember, these are sweeping generalizations to help you understand a concept. What you find is the need for macrocosmic order, a central control. When you come to India, you will see microcosmic order, peripheral control. Everything is about periphery. So nobody thinks in terms of institutions, we think about people. So we don't care for the government of India. We care which minister do you know. फिर काम हो जाएगा. It doesn't matter who is in power, whether it's the left, whether it's the right, whether it's center, north, south, doesn't matter. If I know the person, whatever you want will get done. It's a microcosmic order. It's like the thali. It is organized, but not quite the way we think it is. It is a different kind of organization. It cannot be called chaotic. It is highly structured, a different kind of structure. If you appreciate this, then it will be a little easier to deal with the Indian customer. You say, you can't sit back. I remember this person, why can't Indians be more like Americans? Then life will be so simple. But unfortunately, the world is not like that. The Indians will be like Indians, the Chinese will be like the Chinese, the Japanese will be like the Japanese, the Australians will be like the Australians. That's what makes us human. Our subjective reality makes us human. Do not think clone. Most important. If you're looking at your customer, do not think clone. Every customer is going to be different. Don't use the word full-time equivalent. or a human resource, it's dehumanizing, because then you start dehumanizing the person. It is necessary from a statistical point of view when you're looking at the business from a stratosphere, but when you have to strike a deal, he becomes a person with a name and a subjective reality. Connect with that, understand the subjective reality, and the deal is most likely going to happen. You see, think God. Only problem here is which God? Tulsi ka patta, bel ka patta. So remember key things: darshan, aarti, and whether tulsi or bel. Which offering to get what you want? If you think subjectively and you understand that Indians need this importance, they want to feel special. They don't like being part of a collective. Each one wants to be different. Therefore, every time you give him a solution, he says, how do you know my problem that you're offering me a solution? They don't like it. You go to a Lala and say, sir, this is the best practice in the world. He says, yeah, but I'm not the world. My problem is unique. My problem is unique. So you're obsessed with customization. At least give them the delusion of customization. This is called, Vishnu is therefore called Mayan. He who creates Maya. And that's why Vishnu's wife is Lakshmi. So I'm assuming you all want to make money. If you want to make money, treat me like God. Ask yourself, and this is South Indian, and I like this wonderful ritual of the kolam. What is it? It is pattern. You join the dots to create patterns every morning. For whom is the kolam? For whom is your product? For whom is your service? For whom is your business? Ask that question. That is your Lakshmi. Look at what they like, not what you like, what they like. Only then will Lakshmi walk your way. And I hope Lakshmi walks your way all the time. Thank you. Thank you. Questions? I think we have time for about 5 minutes for questions. But if you can leave that on, in case. Thank you. No questions? Ah, yes.
You say that we don't want to be dehumanized as Indian customers.
Yes.
But then looking at a lot of Indian society, look at the really low class, look at servants, look at the rickshaw drivers. They dehumanize all the time. So how does that dehumanize aspect
Look at it subjectively. You go to a rickshaw driver and try to get a short bhada, what is called in Bombay. Do you dehumanize him? Who is God at that moment? You want to take a short distance ride, if you're living in Bombay, you have to. So there's no dehumanization happening there. See, you're looking at a macrocosmic level. You're looking at a Chicago lens of India. Go to the street. The maid doesn't come on time. Who becomes goddess on that day? There is only a few gods. Let's be very clear about it. The maid, the driver, they're very critical. So what happens again is this dehumanization of feudal Indian society. Very nice if you're want to get a PhD in London or New York. If you want to live in India, you better treat them like God. Otherwise you won't be able to acquire land. You will not be able to build up your industry, and they know their voice is coming. You will not get a piece of land unless you treat them like God. And you are not treating them like God, and we are paying for it. You have to treat your customer as God. You want their land. How do you do that? So it is about subjective reality. We don't do subjective reality. Someone far away decides how much money they need. Why they should give up the land. Because it is logical to me in Delhi, it should be logical to me in Nagarkoil. It is not. 9/11 there and 9/11 here is very different. How much darshan do we actually do in India? I'm sorry, we don't. Darshan is sorely missing. Yeah.
Thank you for a great presentation, Devdutt. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. I have one particular question saying that The reason why a lot of us are feeling as if we've opened eyes and done a darshan is because while we go through formal education, we're not taught to appreciate these aspects.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of us stop learning Indian history or start learning an Indian National Congress version of history pretty soon in life.
Okay.
So do you think that in order that we appreciate this further, there should be ways that Indian entrepreneurs can learn about our own culture?
See,
Or, you know, what's the way to go around
in India,
that problem?
centralized things don't work. It never works. So the moment you give this answer, you're thinking central. It happens in the home. It happens inside the house. It happens in the kitchen. That's the most powerful place where culture is created. It is, remember, peripheral order, not central order. So it's peripheral order. It's in your kitchen. It's in your dining table. Check whether your conversation revolves around objectivity or subjectivity. And a simple method is, look at any conversation. Are people saying right or wrong? Or is that the language? If it's right or wrong, you're thinking objective. The moment you think appropriate, inappropriate, successful, unsuccessful, inclusive, exclusive, you started thinking subjectivity. You are thinking from another perspective. So how do you talk to the maid? That is the moment when every sanskar is happening. How do you talk to the driver? How do you talk to the seniors? How do you talk to the juniors? How do you negotiate with the auto driver? The child is watching everything. The child is learning by darshan. Children don't learn by listening. It's not through the ear, it is through the eye. They watch parents. And they're seeing, oh, the mother is negotiating her way through life. Father is negotiating the way. There is horrible relatives who are still being called for dinner. मैं तुमसे बात नहीं करूंगा, कब खाने के लिए आ रहा है? See the Indian soap operas. How it is structured. What does it show? Accommodation. Contract may be broken, but relationship need not be broken. That is how sanskar is being passed. You don't expect the government of India to solve this. I mean, they have little things like water in every village. Let them focus on that.
My name is Mayak Mehta and I represent priceclub.com. First of all, your presentation was amazing. I mean, I've never seen a narrative presentation this before.
Thank you, sir.
My question is now, that was a very good explanation about how cultural difference is there in US and in India. But when it comes down to web, the online business,
Yes.
which is cold, of course, but
Yes.
still we believe that, of course, there's a difference in the culture, but
Yes.
how do you cater it? Because when you say it has to be extremely customized, which is not possible online.
5 o'clock in the evening or a hall.
Okay.
I'll promise I'll answer this. Yes. Can we get a mic, please? But if you don't mind, because then others can hear it. Okay. Oh, one mic there. Okay, we'll do this, then we'll do that.
How do you explain this penchant, this growing penchant for foreign? And so there is this aspiration for Western and foreign. How do you correlate that with this whole?
Let me give you a visual example. In the 11th century, Mongol warlords came to India. They came wearing leather pants. Leather pants on horses. They were like these horrible Genghis Khan type warriors. In the 16th century, when the British finally told the last Mughal emperor to go to Mandalay, you know what he was wearing? He was wearing a silk petticoat. This is what India does. We go, we take, we mix it with our food and make it ours. And that's what we will always do. Because every idea is valid. Every idea is valid. There is a lot of wisdom in the West. Usko bhi include karo na, ghar ke andar bulao. Why should it be this or that? It has to be this and that. Adjust. That's what we say.
I'll shout my question out. I want to talk about something that probably has gotten us all here, profit.
Yeah.
These days, there's an increasing, I mean, we only seem to think about profit in terms of money.
Yes.
Is there something about profit that we could learn from our own ancestors that we seem to have forgotten
Yes.
about?
If your darshan is appropriate, Lakshmi will walk your way. If your darshan is not appropriate, you'll run behind Lakshmi. So there are two gods. There is Indra, who chases Lakshmi, and there is Vishnu, who attracts Lakshmi. Decide what you want to be. You want to run after money, or do you want money to come to you? If you want money to come to you, better do darshan. Look at the customer. When you don't do that, we run. The problem is we keep running after money and we think that is the right way to be. So that's the Indian model. The Indian model is make yourself attractive. Work on yourself again and again, iterating it 100,000 times. Keep adjusting your software, keep changing it. Please look at Apple, very good model to understand how much iteration takes place. You have updates by the week. Why? Because the more darshan I do, the more I see. The more I see, it's infinite, ananta. It will never end. And Lakshmi is also ananta. She'll keep walking your way. Hazam karne ki shakti hai. Yeah.
What should we yearn after? Like,
yeah. No. मुझसे लक्ष्मी निंदा करवाओगे?
Devdutt, I have a question.
Yes.
Should we just yearn for Lakshmi, or should we also
Let me explain.
yearn for Ashirvad? So, if
No,
we have
Lakshmi,
a choice,
I'm very
Lakshmi
clear
or
about it.
Ashirvad,
I'm
what
very
would you
clear
say?
it is about Lakshmi. Why? You see, to get Lakshmi in is very easy. To keep Lakshmi in is very difficult. That's why Lakshmi is never worshipped alone in India. You never worship Lakshmi alone. Is there a single temple where Lakshmi is worshipped alone? Yeah. See the Vishnu Narayan Murti next to it. I have done enough for research and more. We don't. Keval Lakshmi ki puja karo, very nice, but she won't stay with you. She'll come from the front door and go from the back door. If you want to keep her there, you have to do many more things. Everything else will follow. So if you're genuinely interested in Lakshmi, you will worship 330 million gods.
Devdutt,
You have no choice because those are your customers.
Devdutt, this side, the other way.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a lot of focus on corruption in the last few
Yes.
weeks or months, and a good thing too. I think all of us agree with that. And corruption is the ultimate form of darshan in the government circles. So do you see the entire corruption, anti-corruption movement failing because it runs contrary to the Indian psyche?
Not really. You see, let's do the darshan of corruption. Corruption, I mean, this is a very large topic, but if you look very carefully, what we are talking about is the collapse of central order. What we have never acknowledged for the last 100 years is India is a country of peripheral order. So everything happens at the doorway. The peon, the secretary, the minister. It is always, when a driver drops you, what is the first thing that you do in Bombay? Am I obliged to give him money when there's an airport drop? I don't, but I still give him $100. Is that corruption? We're a bakshish culture. We have always given bakshish. It's called dakshina, for service rendered. The thing is, this is not acceptable in the model. So what has gone wrong is not the breakdown of rules. It is the breakdown of intent. How are we looking at corruption? We are looking at is the breakdown of rules. India has never been about rules. It has always been about bhav, emotion. How are you functioning as a chief minister? How are you functioning as a prime minister? It is not whether you follow the rules, it is with what emotion are you executing your task. Bhav. Please check in one corruption discourse, anybody talking about bhav. Everybody is talking, he's broken the rule, they've broken the rule, he has broken the rule, he is charged wrong for the ticket, this, that. Nobody is using the one word which is so fundamentally Indian. Bhav kya hai? Kis bhav se tum aa rahe ho? The ruler, the ruled, the rebel, everybody. Ultimately, saath mein rehna hai na. At the end of the day, you're not going to kill these guys, no? They have to live in the same house. What are you saying? Exclude them, exile them. So they are going to fight back. Each one thinks the other is an asura. That's where the devasura, that's why you never worship a deva. You worship a Bhagavan who includes both. That is the problem with the corruption discourse. We are not using the Indian vocabulary which works. We are using the Western vocabulary of rules, breakdown of rules, error in rules, it's all about rules, it's all about Terminator. We are seeking robo. That's the problem. But
I'm afraid we may have time for just one other question, so
yeah, you take this one.
Hi, I'm Kunal. You are always saying about darshan and astuti. I would like to quote one sentence of Kalidas, astuti kim natta stubhyam. Astuti kise achhi nahi lagti. But I would like to ask a question. You are always trying to accommodate the ethics, values and culture, which is very important. Do you have any Indian economy model which can contain all the population, huge population, which is still not part of this revolution and is still not part of this, whatever the IT and the industries GDP growth rates, and secondly, they are still waiting for Lakshmi, although they have a faith on Narayana.
So the last question is going to ask me the Indian economic model, is it?
Yeah, Indian economy model.
2012, April, Aleph Publishers will publish my book called Business Sutra. It will have all the answers.
I now request Shard Sharma to hand over a memento on behalf of Nasscom. I think that was a fantastic one, so another big round of applause goes out to Devdutt Patnaik.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great pick.
Thank you.
Would you be available?